Engel has released the new lithium aerator that today I'm going to do a comparison with the Clam Lithium aerator, which is currently my go-to for both ice fishing and open water fishing, and the OG Gen 2 Engel D-cell battery aerator that gets a lot of hate for how loud it is and the fact that it uses D-cell batteries. We're gonna run through the specs and features differences between all of these. I'm gonna do a runtime test to see which ones last the longest, a charge time test to see how long they take to charge up, and an audio test to see how loud they are when they're running. We're gonna wrap up on a few questions that I've already got on it, and would I recommend it, and is it gonna be my new go-to aerator? Let's jump in. So let's get started by going through the specs and feature differences between them. So first, we've got the Engel Lithium aerator. Dimension-wise, this is 3¼ inches wide, it is 5 3/8 inches tall, and it is 1 7/8 inches thick. I did measure these myself. I'm not going off of manufacturer specs because sometimes those can be wrong. When I do measure these things, I'm including the clip, I'm including the things on the back. For instance, on this one, I did include the height of the toggle switch, and then on the Clam I included the bracket as well. The Engel Gen 2, we're looking at 3 1/8 inches wide, 6 inches total in height, and 2 inches thick, so it's a bigger guy. And then the Clam Lithium, this is still the smallest out there between these three, so it's only 3 inches wide, so 1/4 inch smaller than the Engel Lithium. It's only 5 inches tall in total height, which is 3/8 inches shorter than the Engel Lithium. And then thickness, even including the clip that's on here, we're at 1 5/8 inches, whereas the Engel is an extra 1/4 inch thick. Moving on to weight, the Engel Lithium aerator is 11.2 ounces. The Engel Gen 2 with batteries, because all of these have batteries, you have to put the batteries into to compare, 17.6 ounces, and the Clam Lithium comes in at 8.2 ounces. So the lightest and the smallest out there. The Engel Lithium is an improvement over their Gen 2 that runs the D-cell batteries. However, the Clam is still smaller and lighter, which is a plus. In terms of power type, the Engel Lithium is a lithium-ion USB rechargeable battery. It is 3,350 milliamp hour in terms of battery capacity. The way that you charge this is through a USB-C port, so that's nice. It's not the micro port that you normally see on USB rechargeable devices. It's a USB-C port. That goes directly to USB, or you can get a power block for it. The Engel Gen 2 uses just 2 D batteries inside of it, which is where a lot of the weight comes from, or it does have a small little barrel plug on the front of it that you can use with the included DC car adapter. And the Clam is a lithium-ion USB rechargeable, where you've got a barrel port on the top to plug into. In terms of rated battery life, we have 36 hours rated on the Engel Lithium, 45 hours rated on the Engel Gen 2, and 14 hours of runtime on the Clam Lithium. We will find out if those are accurate or not, because in this video I'm doing a time test. In terms of how they work, the pump type, on this new Engel Lithium aerator, what's so great about it is it now has an electromagnetic pump mechanism. So it's actually using electronics and no rotational parts, gears, or cogs, and therefore essentially nothing that's going to seize up or break on you while you're using it. Unlike the old school Engel aerators in a lot of the other competition that's out there, including the Clam. In terms of warranty, the Engel Lithium aerator comes with a 2-year warranty from the manufacturer. The Engel Gen 2 has, I believe it's a 30-day manufacturer warranty after purchase. And then the Clam Lithium, I could not actually find any information around their warranty. However, I do believe it is a 1-year manufacturer warranty. In terms of button placement, so on the Engel Lithium aerator, you have 3 buttons on the front of the device. There's nothing on the top. The right-hand side has the USB rechargeable port that we already talked about. The bottom is where the air hose goes, and there's nothing on the left side. On the back, you have 4 rubber feet that do actually a really good job helping reduce vibration. This clip, I've used this several times. The clip on it does bend out. When you get it from brand new out of the package, it is tightly pulled together. However, as you're putting this on and off of live bait coolers like the Engel or any bucket, because it works with any bucket, this does push out, and you can see it can get to a point where it will actually flex past these rubber stops. So just something to be aware of. You may need to, over time, just push it in to get it to bounce back if you're going to be running it flat. But what's great about it is you can run it flat on a surface like this. You can set it down on a table and it will actually run and it won't vibrate all over the place. So the buttons that are on the front here, you can see they have text right below it. You've got 3 buttons. The first one's the intermittent setting, the second one is the power setting, and the third one is the 4 different speeds. So you can turn it on, and what we'll show is your battery indicators here. So you're gonna see 4 bars, these left 4 just display the battery level. So you can see 4 bars for full, 3, 2, 1, and when that last one turns off, the whole device turns off and it's out of battery. This first one here is the power. So this is representing that it is in an on state. If we use the intermittent button, it is just a toggle. So if I push it, you'll see this last light blinking. That means it's not on, it's an intermittent setting. So it will run for a few seconds, it will turn off, it will run for a few seconds, which will allow it to save battery life and run longer. If you click it again, it'll toggle right back to on, so it's running nonstop. The power button, I know we talked about turning it on, you just press it once, you just press it once to turn off, press it once to turn on. There's no long holds or anything like that to operate this. The last one is 4 speeds. So the way that the lights work is the left is the lowest setting, then you have another setting, and then the highest setting. So it goes left to right, lowest to highest. So there are 4 speeds as it indicates here. And what you need to do is you fast press it to toggle between them. So if I press it once, it's going to show me I'm on the 3rd setting. Press it again, I'm on the 2nd setting, 1st setting. So high, low. What I do want to call out is you can set the speed and also have intermittent going at the same time. So you could be on low with intermittent for the longest battery life, or you could be in the high setting with it in full on for the shortest battery life, but for the most air bubbling into your live bait cooler. Moving on to the Engel Gen 2 original air pump. So again, on the front here, we've got our power plug here that you can run off of a DC car charger, power cigarette lighter type thing. On the top here, what you have is you have your air intake. So this is where the air goes in, and then this is where your air hose plugs on to obviously aerate your bucket. And then you have a toggle switch that is in the middle for off, left for low, right for high. On the left side, there is nothing. On the right side, there's nothing. And on the bottom, there is nothing. On the back, what you have is a clip to go onto your bucket. And then at the bottom here, you have a thumb screw that you can loosen up. And then boom, you can get to your batteries that are inside. It takes 2 D batteries. And the Clam, what we've got here on the top, it has an intermittent setting. If you go to the left, if you go in the middle, it's off, and if you go to the right, it is on. It does not come with any markings. I put the markings on here myself because after not using it for a couple of weeks, I forget, is the left intermittent or on? And so I'd have to, because when you turn it that way, it turns on, so I'd have to sit there and wait to see, does it turn off? Do I have it in the right setting? So I just put an I for intermittent and an O for on. And then you do have this nice little cover here for the DC barrel jack. This is your charging port right here. So you can just push that down on there, finesse it into that little hole, and boom, it is watertight. And then you just pop it up, move it to the side, and you can charge. On the front, there is nothing other than the Clam logo. The right, there's nothing. The left, there's nothing. On the bottom, you actually have a space for 2 air hoses. So you have 1 air hose here. This is a cap for the other one, but if you pull this off, you have a 2nd air hose so that you can run 2 live bait coolers if you would like to, or 2 buckets with 2 different hoses. On the back, we have got the clip to put it on your live bait cooler or your bucket, and that's it on the back. One thing I forgot to mention, I know I mentioned that this Engel Lithium Aerator has the feet on the bottom. Neither of these 2 do. So they sit and they rest on the clip, which makes it really hard and wobbly. You can see if I turn this on, it's going to vibrate and wobble all over. Whereas if I turn this one on, it just sits there. Another thing that neither of these aerators have is there is no battery display. You don't know if you have 2% battery life left or if you have 100%, whereas the Engel Lithium aerator does have that. And manufacturer suggested retail price is $49.99 on the Engel Lithium aerator, $29.99 on the Gen 2, so the cheapest, and $49.99 for the Clam Lithium. Of course, there are retailers that will sell them for different prices, and sometimes they go on sale, so check out the links down in the description for the latest prices and where you can get each of these. Let's get going with the time test. Going from left to right, what we have here is the new Engel Lithium aerator. We've got two of those. We have two of the Clam Lithium aerators, and we have two of the Gen 2 Engel pumps. We're gonna run the first Engel Lithium on low speed, the second one on high speed. This clam we're gonna run on intermittent. This clam we're gonna run on, which is gonna just continuously go. The Engel Coolers Gen 2 pump, this first one will be in low setting, and the second one will be in high setting. Low intermittent on the left one, and high intermittent on the right one. This is in room temperature, roughly 70 degrees inside. You can see I've got brand new air hoses for each of them, the same length, the same kind, the same air stones, all brand new for each of them. And you can see I have them taped directly below so we can kind of keep track. Each of the rechargeable ones I charged overnight, so they are fully charged 100%. And then both of these D-cell battery ones, I have tested the batteries. They're brand new batteries, each battery tested to 1.61 volts, which is a full charge on a D-cell battery. So those are ready to go full charge. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna go ahead and change this down. The first one is low setting. The top one is high setting. This is gonna go to the left for intermittent. This is gonna go to the right for on. This is gonna go to the left for low. And this is gonna go to the right for high. Power button, we're gonna go ahead and hit intermittent, which is the left button. You'll see it blink for intermittent. And then we'll put the speed down to low. And you'll see it is blinking, which means it is intermittent. The right one, we're gonna get going. We're gonna do intermittent. And then we're gonna make sure, yep, it's on high. And I think it's pretty easy for us to see. They are all making bubbles right now, and we will be able to tell when they give out as well in the video. So let's get a time lapse going right now. Wow, that Engel D battery OG is dominating. 8 days on low, 4.5 days on high. You can't beat those run times. The Engel Lithium though, I mean, you run that thing intermittent high, low, or intermittent low, you're getting 1 to 2+ days run time. Throw it on a USB charger overnight each day and you're good every single day. The Clam on intermittent gets close to a day, but still not a full 24 hours. In on position, it's a half hour under the rated 14 hours at 13 hours, 25 minutes. I am impressed. Nice job, Engel, on the new lithium aerator. Now we are gonna do a time charging test. We've got the Clam Lithium aerator and the Engel Lithium aerator. The Engel Lithium aerator uses a USB-C type adapter. I've got it plugged into a QC 3.0 port on this portable power unit so we can see the wattage output to know when it's fully charged. We'll also hopefully be able to tell because on the Engel Lithium aerator, it actually tells you with indicators where it's at in terms of charging. The Clam Lithium aerator does not have any indicators on it at all to know if it's charging, when it's charged, how charged it is. And so we've got the ace volt inverter hooked up as well, where we will also be able to see the wattage output. And once that cuts off, we will be able to know when that's fully charged, or at least it stops taking juice. That uses a barrel plug into a USB end into a QC 3.0 port. So they're both QC 3.0 ports, so we should be able to see at least capable of the same amount of draw. So let's go ahead and get started. The Clam Lithium aerator just plugs right into the top. It is in the off position, so we're gonna plug that in. We can immediately see a little bit of wattage output pulling already. And the Engel is going to be on the side where we have a USB-C adapter cord. Plug that in. It automatically wants to turn on. We're going to turn it off while it charges so that it's a fair test, as the Clam does not run when it's charging. We can immediately see there is a wattage output difference between the two. Because the Engel is using a USB-C cable, we're able to see 3 watts being pulled. On the ace volt, which is connected to the Clam, we can see it's only pulling 1 watt out. I think that's the benefit of having that USB-C connector rather than just that old school barrel connector. And this is a Clam cord that comes with it. Let's see how long both of them take. My guess is definitely the Engel's gonna beat it based off of the wattage output that we're seeing now. But let's go ahead and let these run. All right, no surprises here. The Engel Lithium, a full hour and a half shorter charge time, even though it has a longer run time than the Clam. Just goes to show technology is advanced. Nice job, Engel, again, on the faster charger with even more capacity in the bank. Now we're gonna do the sound test. We're gonna test each of the 3 aerators with a digital sound level meter at both 1 foot distances and 3 foot distances on both the low setting and the high setting if the aerator has it. Let's get started. First thing we'll look at is the ambient room sound level at complete silence. All right, we will start with the original Engel aerator on low at a 3 foot distance. And now we'll try the original Engel aerator on the high setting at a 3 foot distance. And now we'll try the original Engel aerator at a 1 foot distance on low. And now we'll try the original Engel aerator at a 1 foot distance on high. The Clam Lithium aerator only has 1 setting, so we're going to try that at 3 feet. And now we'll try the Clam Lithium aerator at 1 foot. And now we'll do the Engel Lithium on high at 1 foot. Now we'll do the Engel Lithium on low at 1 foot. Now we'll do the Engel Lithium on high at 3 feet. Now we'll do the Engel Lithium on low at 3 feet. Wow, incredibly impressive. The Engel Lithium Aerator across the board at or near, even on high at 1 foot, the ambient room sound level. I thought I was in a pretty quiet room, evidently not. I need to find a quieter one next time. The Clam Aerator, while it's quiet, still is not anywhere near as quiet as the Engel Lithium. You literally cannot hear it when it's running, which is absolutely great. That is a huge selling point. Now, a couple questions that I've been asked. Can you run this off of an external power source for a longer period of time than the battery life? The answer is yes. I've done this and I've done it for up to 2.5 days so far, and then I didn't need it any longer. It comes with an included USB-C cable that you can plug directly into the side of the unit, and then it also comes with a power block that you can plug into the wall. If you're not by power, you can use a portable like phone charging pack or something like that from the USB cable directly into this, and it will run nonstop until that battery dies out or you lose power from your power cord. Another question that I've gotten is, are the buttons on the outside, since they're flush with the surface, able to be bumped really easily and change the settings when you don't want to? Understanding that this is usually hanging on the side of a bait bucket or a live bait cooler, could something bump it and change the setting that you have? The answer that I've had after using it about 20 times, I haven't had that issue at all, and I push it up against different things. These buttons that are on here actually require quite a bit of pressure to depress. You can't just bump it. There's nothing that's going to actually allow it to change unless you're forcefully pushing the button, and you can feel it move in. It's not just like a touch sensitive button. So that's no issue that I've ran into yet. Another question that I've gotten is, how is the build quality? It's actually pretty dang good build quality. It feels really solid. I would say it feels a little bit more solid and well put together, like a thicker grade of plastic than the Clam one. And of course, better than the Engel original D-cell battery one. But it is still made out of plastic. The only metal parts on here are, of course, the screws and then the clip that's on the back. But it's a solid one-piece unit. What's great about it is you don't need to open it up to get to the batteries inside, like the original one where you had to open it up. And so it is got a seal all the way around it to keep water out of it. It's got that bulletproof electromagnetic pump that's inside of it. It is actually very well built. I'm very pleased with it. All right, so what are my final thoughts on these, and is the new Engel Lithium Aerator gonna be my go-to? Here's my answer. Yes, it's gonna be my go-to. Here's why. I don't like using D-cell batteries. Even though this thing had the longest runtime by far out of all of them, it's not that big of a deal to me to use a USB cord to plug it into a wall outlet or to plug it into a portable power pack. I don't like the expense of the D batteries. I don't like how loud this is, and I don't like how big and heavy it is. So that's why this one I specifically didn't choose, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody. In terms of these two, the Clam Lithium Aerator is still a good aerator. I do not like the barrel plug on the top. I wish they would have done a USB cable. I know this has been out, I think, for like 6 years already. So it probably would have been a micro USB cable, but that still would have been way better than a barrel plug. I've lost a couple of the USB cables that I had, so I had to purchase them directly through Clam to make sure that I got the right barrel plug to USB cable. Whereas if it was a micro cable on the top, I could have just used any micro cable that I had laying around. So that's one thing I didn't like about this. I also don't like that it doesn't have a low and high setting. Probably not super important, but they don't even label the intermittent in the on setting on the top. I don't like that on the back, if I were to try to lay it down flat or even up against a bucket, it doesn't have the little pads. I guess I could add my own to it so that it doesn't vibrate as much and can sit flat, but I don't care for that. The one thing I do really like about it is I like that it is the lightest and the smallest dimensionally out of any of them, and even smaller than this guy right here. So that is one big thing it has going for it. It's lithium, it's light, it's gonna work out great. If you already have it, heck, keep using it. And if you want to be able to use this with 2 bait buckets, this is the only one that I tested today that actually has 2 outputs for hoses. It's a good unit, but for me, I really like the Engel Lithium Aerator, and what really tipped me over the edge on this is a couple of things. One, I love the USB-C charging. That's awesome. I have an Android phone, so I have a ton of USB-C cables, and it charges very quickly. I like the idea of being able to see the battery power on it. So am I close to running out, or is it a full charge? Sometimes you leave them on a shelf in your garage for a couple of weeks and you forget if you charged it or not beforehand. That's good to know. And when it's charging, you can see how close it is to being done. Is it at 2 bars? Is it at 3? Is it at 4? Where are you at? So I really like that. And runtime. This thing's got really good runtime compared to the Clam. You put it on low intermittent setting, which is more than enough for some of the small bait coolers that I use. This thing's great. I love it. I hope this video helps you out. Check out this other video on the screen where I go through some bait bucket mods and reviews. And until next time, take it easy.